today's episode of DVTV in Space. It's Israel Luna down on the end, and Brandy Amara Sky, the award-winning Brandy Amara Sky.
Award-winning in front of my name. Watch
Excuse me. Can I sit next to you?
I guess I'll let you just this once.
Right. Very thrilled for that. Yes, indeed. And of course, Israel is world famous.
Yeah.
Right?
Only on Grindr.
Can I sit next to you?
Yeah, let me clear up a spot. Oh, wait, I can't. This is DVTV. I have to edit myself.
In space. We were just talking about that a minute ago, and it's like, no bleeps. I'm the worst.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things I want to start off talking about today, in the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about some of the bad things happening. We talked about Chechnya and the reports out of Chechnya that gay men are being taken away to concentration camps and tortured, and some have died, some have been murdered. And you mentioned the video today, Katie Couric.
Yeah. She had asked, I think her name is on there on one of these sheets.
I can't remember.
She had asked somebody from there about what was going on, and the lady just completely avoided the question, just basically said, I'm not aware of this, or I
can't speak.
I can't speak on this.
I'm international affairs.
Yes, like completely just disregarded the question and everything going on, and it's just.
Katie Couric kept pushing,
yeah,
repeatedly saying, "But let me just read this to you, or let me just ask you." And she didn't even want her to ask the question at all. She interrupted her and tried to cut her off. But one of the things that you have asked Israel repeatedly when we've talked about things like this is, what can I do? What is there that I can do? And I've told you that there are organizations that do help people abroad, people in bad situations. And there's one called the Rainbow Railroad.
Oh, good. Okay? I was going to say, is it like an underground railroad of some kind?
It's based in Canada. They've been around. They're not new. It's not something that was created in response to Chechnya. But, there are a lot of other countries where gay people and lesbians and transgender people are in danger, and they work to get them out and get them to safety. And like I said, they are based in Canada. There's an organization here based in the United States, 501c3 nonprofit. It's called American Friends of Rainbow Railroad. And right now they have a fundraiser going on Facebook. If you go on Facebook and look for Helping Gay Men Flee Chechnya. And apparently they have a $100,000 goal. And it says here they've got $90,000 raised.
I got an invite. I don't know if they actually
invite. I did too,
did you? And I didn't
Facebook.
know if it was
legit or
not. And so I think it's really important that we get the word out, because I didn't know. And then Tammy brought in this sheet, and I was like, that's the exact same thing that I got. And I didn't know if I should donate, because I didn't know if it was legit. So it is. At least this one is that's associated with the Rainbow
always check out before you start giving your money to somebody and thinking you're helping.
Yeah.
Make sure that you are giving to a reputable organization. But like I said, Rainbow Railroad has been around for a while. I've heard about them before. So
now, although they're not wanting to discuss it when they interview them, like Katie Couric interviewing these people, and because I take it they're from Chechnya, the people that she's asking. Or?
The woman was a Russian government employee who's like an international relations spokeswoman. Mm-hmm. And Katie Couric started asking, well, look, we're hearing these reports out of Chechnya. And before she even finished saying Chechnya, the woman's like, that's not my department. I can't speak on that. Mm-hmm. And she kept saying, what is Russia doing? We're investigating. That's all I can tell. I don't know. I can't talk.
Because what I'm wondering is if there's a particular person who is leading this terrible thing and doing this to the gay people over there, could another country or even us go over there and say, hey, just give them to us, and we'll take them off your hands if you don't want them there. In the meantime,
because Donald Trump is really going to do that.
Thank you.
That's true. See, because I'm trying to think, I picture this railroad happening and seeing all of these, effeminate, boys, because those are the ones that they can easily spot, and seeing them trying to escape, and it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And, if there's something like in the meantime that we could do, say, just put them over here in Canada. Mm-hmm. Canada will take them off of your hands, because I don't even know what harm Chechnya thinks that they're going to do. Like, why kill them? What is it that they're doing that they need to kill them?
The Chechnyan government, the I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. The leader there refuses to even acknowledge that gay people exist in his country. This is not happening because we don't have those people here.
Right.
There
And
are gay people.
You think about all
Right.
of, and think about all of the reparative therapy people. I don't know. I mean, they can't just leave you alone and let you be yourself. You know, they have to fix you, and maybe some of that plays into. I don't know, but they don't want you. They don't want it. They're not going to let some people come rescue them.
Right.
Oh, you know, we're here to take the gays and take them to Canada.
Right.
And
And
they're
it's
not going to
usually-
do that because they don't want to admit that they're there.
Yeah.
Right. And the reason it continues going is one of two reasons, I think, is one of them for money, like whether it's like a gay conversion therapy kind of thing, and they don't want to discuss it because they're getting money from these kids' parents, or it's an in the closet person who is, you know, abusing these kids because they are secretly in the closet, but they have to pretend like they hate them, but then they're getting something out of it. You know, it's there's always a motivating factor there.
That's true.
So, and it's really, really sad. So I'm glad that this is happening.
Yeah, we had
I'm
talked
glad
about that,
this
and you
is-
kept asking, and I thought this is what I was talking about. There are ways to help. You just have to find them and verify them before you start spending a lot of money with them. So,
Good.
You wanted to talk Israel. We were talking in the last week or so about all of the uproar on the airlines and things that are happening.
Yes.
So you feel kind of justified now. I'm gonna let you go ahead.
You know, I know when we discussed it, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and David Taffet was here, and he said, "Oh yeah, you know that person, the CEO of United needs to be arrested and everything." And I was like, no, it's this guy's fault. You have to think of the big picture of what's going to happen if this is okay. And so I was thinking about it, and I thought, okay, let's take my studio. If there's someone who has rented out one of my infinity wall rooms, and they're about to start shooting, and then another company comes in and they say, "No, Israel, we already had it booked, remember?" And then I look in my books and I think, I double booked this. I double booked it. I would go to the studio and say, "Hey, I am so sorry, but I double booked it. They had it first. And, you know, I'll put you in another room." And if they say, "Okay, well, we'll go in the other room," or no, they don't want to go in the other room. So I say, "Well, how about I put you in that room and I add another free hour?" And they say no. And I say, "Okay. How about I put you in another room and then I give you a full day, free, 10 hours. And they say no. And I say, "Well, I'm sorry, but I need to put these people in there." And they say no. I'm going to call the police. If the police come in because they refuse to leave, and as the police are pulling them out, they are grabbing the sides of the wall and they crack their head open. I'm going to be like, "I'm sorry, the head's cracked, but it ain't my fault." So then if the media comes over here and says, "Now, Israel, you know, they're going to sue you. Do you think it's their fault?" I'm going to say, "Well, it's my fault that I double booked, but it's their fault that they got their skull cracked open. It has nothing to do with me."
That's interesting.
That, you know, I mean, because what am I supposed to do as the business owner?
Okay. Here's my take on
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. I would love.
As the business owner,
Yes,
don't overbook.
absolutely.
But
absolutely.
no, that's a simple thing. But
And I just to piggyback off, and I'll let you finish.
no,
You in your instance, it was you didn't mean to. It was an accident. These airlines clearly overbook. Every airline, they know what they're doing. They overbook all of these flights. So they know, they're cognizant of what they're doing. Yours was an accident. So I think that is a big
Got it.
factor as well. Like it's an accident. "I'm sorry, I overbooked." You said no. They're doing this blatantly. Like they're blatantly overbooking and hoping that people don't show up.
Yeah. And if they're being sloppy, I absolutely get it. And let's just say I'm being sloppy with scheduling. I guess what I'm wanting to say is when the guy is sitting there and the owner of the company or the company United says, "You have to get off the plane," and he doesn't want to, I'm sorry, you have to. You're not the boss. It doesn't matter if you bought a ticket. You're not the boss because now you're trespassing. Get off the plane, because what has happened now is there was a woman with a double stroller, And she was on a flight, and the flight attendant said, well, you have to take it off. And she didn't want to. And so when he grabbed the stroller and said, no, we have to take it off because we have a schedule to keep, then another passenger that had nothing to do with it starts yelling at him, and then a confrontation begins, right?
That is a simplified version and not actually accurate.
Okay.
Well, to a degree accurate. I believe I could be wrong. I'm not going to say I'm absolutely right, but I believe the flight attendant in this case that you're talking about went in with a bad attitude.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree.
He was jerky and yanky and pushy and all that crap. The woman he was speaking to was not like, I'm entitled to take my big old stroller down this aisle. She was a woman who English was not her first language. She was trying to understand and communicate. And this guy is yanking things, and he yanked the stroller from her in such a way and that he hit her and almost hit the baby that she was holding. So that was, she did not need to bring the stroller on. That is absolutely right. But his behavior and attitude, and even the other flight attendants were trying to, and the pilot were trying to get him to
came out. Yeah, I remember
settle down and quit acting like an asshole.
I agree, because when the other passenger that had nothing to do with the incident said, if you were to do that with me, I would, kick your ass or whatever.
Yeah.
And then at that moment, the flight attendant should have been like, all right, whatever, sir. And then just moved on. So I absolutely agree. My point
in all of that is we can't make a blanket statement about how any of these things have to be handled, because every situation, every incident is different.
Right. And there's one more incident, but we have to cut to break.
Okay. We'll come back.
Okay, are we going to talk about the giant rabbit?
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk about that. But first, before we talk about a giant, you don't know about the giant rabbit.
I'll tell you the giant rabbit.
I'll tell you the giant rabbit.
We're going to school you.
Before we go and talk about a giant rabbit, we're going to talk about our pet of the week. We have each week on each Friday when Dallas Voice comes out, SPCA of Texas provides us with a photo and information about one of their beautiful, sweet pets. And we have a pet of the week. And now, beginning today, we're going to have the pet of the month for DVTV in Space with video. So I believe we got our video ready to go, and we're going to cue it up, and we're going to see Victoria and Miracle.
Yay.
Go.
Hi, my name is Victoria, and I am with the SPCA of Texas. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I want to introduce you to my furry friend named Miracle. Miracle is a 4-year-old pit bull mix. She's super sweet, very, very gentle, loves belly rubs. She's fantastic on a leash, and she's just looking for a forever home. Hopefully that's with you, because she really needs somebody to love her and give her the love that she deserves. You can find out more about Miracle at www.spca.org. She's up to date on all of her vaccinations. She's been spayed, and she's even microchipped. All she needs now is you. So if you want to find out more, again, the website is www.spca.org. If you have furry friends at home, feel free to bring them with you and do a meet and greet. She might be a little particular on some of her furry friends, so you definitely want to make sure you do a meet and greet and see if everybody's going to get along in your household. So come by, meet this sweet girl. We're open daily from noon to 6, but we've extended our hours. On Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we are open until 7 o'clock. That gives you an extra hour to meet your new best friend. So thank you so much, and I want to also make sure we give you some information about a really special event that's coming up on May 13th. It's our 12th annual Strut Your Mutt, the Race to End Animal Cruelty. It's sponsored by VCA Animal Hospitals and Hills Pet Nutrition. It's a fantastic event. It's a 3K and a 5K. It's family friendly. You can bring your furry friends to this event and just be part of all the excitement. It's truly a special, special event, and everybody just loves coming out and being part of it. You can find out more info about Strut Your Mutt at www.strutyourmutt.info. Again, the website is www.strutyourmutt.info. Thank you so much again for tuning in today, and as always, we appreciate you supporting the SPCA of Texas.
Okay, I hope y'all all enjoyed meeting Miracle. I met Miracle today. She's very sweet.
Aww.
And I think Victoria mentioned that, if you want to come meet Miracle, if you think you want to adopt her, bring your other furry pets, your furry family out there to meet her, have a meet and greet with her. So, all right, Brandy, tell us about the giant rabbit. You know.
Okay, so apparently, I thought it was the world's biggest rabbit, but apparently it is the son of the world's biggest rabbit. And this person paid an astronomical amount to actually own this rabbit, who was supposedly supposed to be bigger than the actual.
Now, when you say big rabbit, like how?
Like we're talking. There's a pic. Like the
You're
rabbit
kidding.
is literally about this big, and the girl holding it, it's like the head is flopping on this side, and then the tail on this side. I mean, it's huge. So this rabbit was being ported. There you go.
Wow.
That's Daddy. That's Daddy Rabbit.
And so this rabbit
son is
was
supposed to be
being
bigger.
traveled and was on was it a United?
It was United.
It was United flight, and he died. And so that
from like heat.
I think because when I don't know.
I had not read where they. I don't know. They did an autopsy what killed him, but the lady who shipped him and the man who was receiving him claimed he was in the hold of the airplane. United says, "Oh no, he was alive when he got off the plane, and he died in this holding area at the airport." So there's.
Oh my gosh.
That comes on the Chinese doctor who didn't want to get off,
The tail
and then
of that.
Right.
And
the
then
lady,
you have another.
Well, there's another incident that just happened, I think yesterday or the day before, which is where when you're getting ready to take off and the plane starts going on the tarmac, and then you can't get up, you have to stay in your seat. Well, this guy decided to get up and go to the bathroom, and or he wanted to go to the bathroom. I think and so they said, no, you cannot get up. Well, he refused to follow the rules. I forgot exactly like if he got up or didn't or something. But so then one of the so now they're out of line because now other planes are going. So now they're on the side, and they asked the guy to step off of the plane so they can talk to him about what just happened, and he refused. And on video he says, "Well, no, but I bought a ticket." And so they did what all of social media that have nothing to do with working for an airline, their opinions of what they should do, which was, no, just let them stay there and don't pull them off the plane. So they took everyone else off of the plane. And then after everyone was taken off of the plane, then he decided, oh, maybe I should get off the plane. And he got off the plane. So now that airline, I think was it American?
I think it was American.
American. They compensated every passenger for their inconvenience, and they also paid this guy because he was wanting to get paid somehow, and I think he got $10,000.
Wow.
So I would love to know what everybody has to say about that.
Go girl.
I mean, I see your point on how like the Dow incident with United sets a precedent, but at the same time, I think that was an extenuating circumstance. Like I really believe that they handled that poorly. And as Tammy was mentioning during the break, that's something that's been overlooked in this is that the flight wasn't overbooked. So like there wasn't a reason for them to pull him off. They
didn't have someone else with a paid ticket waiting to get in that seat.
Right. So like this whole thing happened was because they were trying to get their other flight attendants to.
They had to get a flight crew to a different airport because they needed to be on a different flight.
Right. And see, and I get what you're saying, but I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, from my end, we don't work there, so we don't know all of the reasons why that flight crew, and it's none of our business. They're just asking us to get off the plane.
But we know it's wrong to be drug out of.
Yes.
We know right from wrong when we see it, and we know that when another human being grabs another human being against their will and drags them off of something, that there's.
Unless they deserve it, and I think this guy deserved it.
But I don't think he did because it was the airline's fault, and they weren't having him get off for any reason because they had other passengers waiting. They were doing it because they fucked up, and they were trying to get their attendants wherever they needed to go.
Right.
And so
I guess my question is, what should they have done at that point? If he had made up his mind, he was going to white knuckle his seat and not move. What should they have done then?
Had I been the one in charge, I would have turned around and said, obviously this gentleman really needs to get wherever it is he's going. Is there someone else here who would please let us have this seat, and we'll give you
two vouchers.
Two vouchers and some Captain Crunch. I don't know.
No, they had already gotten up to 10,000, and there was still no volunteers. I mean, three were volunteers, but they needed 4.
Well, I think 3 were chosen at random. Nobody would ever volunteer. These 3 were chosen. They're like, well, fine, I'll
Fine.
go.
And
I don't
then
want to
they
get
left.
dragged off.
Yeah.
And this man's like, I'm a doctor. I got to get there. I kind of had a feeling maybe he wasn't real clear on the whole concept of what was going on. He didn't maybe realize that they were just. That's just my opinion, just from watching the video.
Yeah, but then when they bump his head and everything, and they're dragging him out, right? He's dragging drama queen, because moments later, guess what? He runs back on the plane after they took him off the plane. He runs back on there.
He did, and
So-
that's why I think he wasn't real clear on what was actually happening.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
think he was
I
faking.
might have run in the plane too and said a piece of my mind to all those people. Like, you know, I think, and I think, like you said, we don't know what happened. We don't know the instances, but I think, like you were talking about, it kind of does set a precedence for all these other rule breakers who might be trying to work the system and trying to see what lines that they can cross and,
Right.
and what they can't, and take advantage of it in that way. So I definitely see your point,
I do
but
too.
I think that situation was different. I'm kind of on the fence with the female and the stroller thing, because
Right.
everybody who flies knows that you can't take anything bigger than this on the plane,
Yeah.
unless it's a stroller that could have been broken down.
It was a double wide.
Yeah, like she should have known
Trailer?
better.
It was a double wide stroller. Yeah.
She should have known better. And
Yeah.
so I'm on the fence with that. And Candace was like, well, how would you like it if they stripped a bag from you? You'd be like, ah, and I would have, but I would
it
have
was-
known better. I still would have blamed myself.
Yeah.
I think in this situation, and you're on this side, and then there are people on this side, and I'm saying y'all need to stop, just generalizing and look at each individual.
Yeah.
In this one, as I said, I think it was a woman who didn't speak English. She, for some reason, was flustered trying to get on the plane. It wasn't that she thought I can take my stroller on. It's
She
that
just
she
forgot.
forgot that this
Yeah,
is a double
absolutely.
wide.
And I think the flight attendant
Was an
in all
asshole.
three of those cases exactly had a lot of fault.
Yeah.
But what I had told you guys 2 weeks ago was what I'm afraid of is with the first incident with the Asian guy, the doctor, on the United flight. If he throws a fit and yells and screams, and then they're like, "All right, fine, you can stay." Now everyone's going to go, all we got to do is yell and scream, and then they can't do anything because it worked for them.
But I don't think, I don't know if people think like that. I mean,
Some people
maybe
do.
a percentage, but I mean, I wouldn't look at it and go, oh, I can raise some holy hell, and I'd still be able to be on a plane.
And this is a perfect example, because when I started running Rack Focus, I have a strict deadline, and at midnight on deadline day, if you don't make it, you don't get in the competition, right? If I allow 3 seconds to go past, now everyone's going to say, well, you allowed that project, because it will happen.
You made an
It
exception
will.
for one. You're going to have to make an exception for.
For
I agree with
everyone.
that. I agree with that completely. But
That's what I'm afraid of.
You have to kind of look at circumstances surrounding each one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have a man who has a paid ticket, and he is a physician, he feels like he needs to be at his destination because he has patients waiting on him there. Okay, that's one thing. And you're trying to get them off the plane, not because you have another paid passenger, but just because I really need to get my people here. That's one thing. If you got another guy who's, I think it's incident by incident. You cannot make a blanket rule.
Well, again, I'm afraid if we bring up the fact that he's a doctor, now people are going to say, wait a minute, I am a school teacher, and
Or I'm a
just as
hairdresser.
important. I'm a hairdresser, and I have so that doesn't matter. We're all busy.
You're right.
We all are just
all
as
busy.
important as that doctor guy. So when he's like, I need to pay, shut up. It doesn't matter. I guess what I want to stress to everyone is, as much as it sucks, we are not the boss, and the customer is not always right. The customer is hardly ever right. Anybody who works with the public, anybody who has been a server, anybody who's been a flight attendant, anyone who owns a company, you know what it's like. Those people need to be kept in line because they act a fool. The entire public needs to be kept in line.
Those
they do.
people-
I'm sorry.
But can you imagine, like, if you were sitting at a bar and, you see, like, those people that should not be, like, they're causing a ruckus, they're in the bar. Can you imagine, like, security, like, dragging somebody out? Like, that would be all over social media.
Well, but that happens at
You know,
S4
if-
all the time, though.
Don't you say that.
Well, I mean, not just just like clubs in general.
But not, like, dragging like they did
No.
down.
I'm-
I've never seen that.
You're
I
friends
was
with
a
Richard
bouncer.
Curtin. Yeah.
I was a bouncer at a bar for a paid customer at a bar for a while. Trained customer. That was our term. Trained customer. But I helped work security, and you don't do that. You don't do something that's going to harm someone. You
Right.
find a different way to do it.
Yeah.
And
think,
if you do something that's going to harm someone, then you become liable for the damages to them.
and I think that's my whole point is that, whether he was right or whether he was wrong, there's a certain way that you treat other people. And I think in those two cases, the cases with the female and the case with Dow, they weren't treated as a human should be treated. And that's my biggest concern.
Gotcha.
Perhaps with a different approach, there would have been a different outcome.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they came to a settlement, by the way.
Yeah, I saw
It's
that.
an undisclosed
Good.
amount, but it's taken care of, and now he's fine because I'm sure they gave him money. And now he's gonna shut up.
Well, he already had money. He was a doctor, so he didn't need
Hello,
money.
he's Asian.
Everybody needs.
I can say that because my best friend is Asian, and he tells me that
No.
they're very high maintenance. Cecilio Asuncion. Go talk to him because he's the one that told me that, not me.
Cecilia Asuncion. That is
Asuncion.
such an Asian name. Isn't it? Lord.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but no, but the guy's gonna shut up now. He got paid, and now he's gonna shut up.
Well,
So there you have it.
another thing that my
We
partner
have 30 seconds, by the way.
my partner keeps pointing out to me is, we're talking about United, and then we have something that happened at American. Y'all, United and American is really one company now. They have merged.
Oh,
I
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, on that note.
Now I don't know exactly what what all of the command structure is, but those companies merged a couple of years ago, maybe. I'm not sure.
Southwest, please don't.
I believe
fuck
that's
up.
right. No, Southwest won't. Southwest won't.
Southwest, don't fuck up.
Okay, well, we're gonna go to another break, so we'll be right back.
I'm like, I love Southwest so much. Please don't.
And we're back. Welcome back, and we're still arguing about stuff. even when we're not here, we have, the La Luna regime down there telling us to follow the rules.
Yes.
And how I'm
And
a
we're gonna-
triple, quadruple minority.
The resistance.
Yes, La Luna resistance.
Yes. Just hang on. We're going to have regime change any minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Instead of concentration camps, it's going to be my van.
That's
they have to be
scary.
cute.
The infamous
That is
van.
scary.
Yes.
That is scary. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about some things that are coming up. I know that we're all thrilled to mark the first 100 days of the Donald Trump administration, right? And
Can you do that on DVTV?
Oh, I don't know. Sorry.
Yay,
My
I'm the only
opinions
one.
do not represent
there you go.
necessarily represent
The
DVTVs.
voice of the
The
opinions of. Now here
opinions
the
are my own.
the Federal Club, the Dallas Fort Worth Federal Club is going to have a special event, a special 100 days of 45s. Defy, resist, reach out, and organize. Sunday, April 30th, that's this coming Sunday, Roundup Saloon, 2 to 4 p.m. There is a special HRC, Dallas Fort Worth Federal Club HRC event. HRC, it's, in case you don't know, Human Rights Campaign. That is a nationally based organization that has been advocating and organizing on LGBT issues for many, many years. And there is the Federal Club. I don't believe they're the ones who actually do it anymore. It's now there's a Black Tie Dinner Committee, but the Black Tie Dinner Committee, or the Black Tie Dinner, grew out of the DFW Federal Club.
Now,
what is
one
of the largest?
What is it that they're doing with this 100 days thing?
It's just an event to get people to come together and become a little more informed.
Got
You
it.
know, and what can you do to fight back? How do you resist? You know, I personally don't say President Trump.
I don't either.
Right.
That's my thing.
And that's going to segue in because I am good at the segue. That's going to segue right into the fact that Black Tie Dinner has released the list of beneficiaries for 2017's dinner. The dinner itself is going to be in November. Last year.
That's the segue. They released theirs, although Donald has still not released his taxes.
Exactly.
Exactly.
See, he's even better at the segue than I am.
That was
right?
a good segue, Tammy.
I'm among brilliant.
Speaking of segue, can we have one of those sometime?
Right.
Ride back and forth.
That would
Here
be
comes
awesome.
the segue.
Yeah.
We have a little video. It's going to go across
There you
the
go.
screen. We're segueing now.
Brilliance in the making, guys.
Israel.
You're seeing it live right now.
Remember this moment. Okay. The beneficiaries, I'm going to just read the list here. There is a story in this week's Dallas Voice by David Taffet that tells you about the beneficiaries. There's some new ones this week. New agencies are Big Brothers Big Sisters, which is a mainstream organization, but the money is going to go to help for programs for LGBT
Awesome.
youth. Rainbow Roundup. Are y'all familiar with Rainbow Roundup? Mm-hmm. It's an organization for LGBT families. People like me who have kids. My kids are too old for it now, but you know, they get together and they have same-sex couples with children, and this gives them an opportunity to socialize and do things together.
Nice.
They have a lot of outings. There's a huge group. Look for them on Facebook. Rainbow Roundup. If you are a family, an LGBT-headed family, you're looking for some others like you. Yeah. No, my kids are too old. They don't care.
Okay.
That would require them to leave the video games. Rainbow Roundup, they are a new beneficiary this year. The Suicide and Crisis Center of North Texas, also a mainstream organization that will use the funds. We all know that suicide and crisis is a huge issue in our community, and they're going to use the funds for programs for our community. And the Trevor Project, which is also a national organization that is working on a local.
Oh, that's awesome.
Local presence here. Also, Lambda Legal returns. It's another national organization with its regional office here in Dallas. Lambda Legal has been the organization that's provided the legal counsel in a lot of our most important court cases.
Nice.
Then we have, let's see, where's the list of the rest of them?
And this is on page 8.
Yes,
in the Dallas Voice.
stories
so
on
if you're
page 8.
interested, it's on page 8.
See, there, that photo is Rainbow Roundup there. Where's my list? Sorry, y'all, not prepared.
And didn't one of them, the women's chorus,
Women's chorus has been in the past, but is not now.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that people really understand there is, to be a beneficiary doesn't just mean you show up on that night and get a check. To be a beneficiary, you agree to certain responsibilities, and you have to help sell tables. You have to donate so many volunteer hours in the name of your organization.
Do you know
Yeah.
how much the tickets are nowadays? I know a few years ago it was like $350. Is it still
Honestly, I'm not going to say, because the first number that comes to my mind is probably not the right number. And
I want to say I think it's around $350. I think that's about right.
and again, that's
Just
in,
for a seat.
I cannot find the list of the organizations. But they're also working on a new event that's going to be earlier in the year, June, I believe, June 3rd. They have it. They're calling it the Black Tie Brunch. They have not finalized the ticket price. It's not going to be as expensive as the dinner, but it's going to be at the Crescent Court Hotel. And the whole idea, it's underwritten by Mindy Berkson and Morgan W. Cox III. And the whole idea is just to expand the options for people who want to participate, who want to help raise some money. You know, you might not be able to afford the $350, whatever it is now. But
Brandon, you know what we should try to do?
What?
Not that Tammy is not invited. Of course you're invited, Tammy. But
Sure.
doing a smaller scale version of Black Tie Dinner, that's, you know, like, because Black Tie Dinner, let's just say it's the Sundance, and then they did Slam Dance. So if we did something like that, that's more catered toward, you know, like not being as dressy, a little more hip and not as, you know, hoity-toity. I think that would be really cool, but it goes to the same organizations. It's just done in a different way.
Actually, you know, I think that's a really good idea. I mean, I'll be the first to say that I've never been to a black tie dinner, even when I was working at the Resource Center, and I have no desire to, only because that's not your
crowd.
That's not my crowd. That's not my mojo, and that's okay. You know,
Yeah.
there's different things for other people, but I would love that option, because then that gives you the opportunity, like for us grassroots, more radical people,
to do something
and to give to these same communities, because, you know, I think that's also really important, is you need both and I talked a little bit about that in my piece that I did this week, is that you need both the revolutionary and you need not the assimilate, but the pacifists, the people that are going to work
Behind
the
the
system,
scenes.
and the people that are going to dismantle the system. And then you need the people that are going to bridge both those worlds. And I kind of see you as one of those bridges, like you cross between both worlds. And I consider myself to be that too. And so I think that's the kind of idea, and those are the kinds of things that we need more of in the community to make those connections, because some people don't connect with black tie.
Because I'm right there with you. It's not necessarily my crowd, and the only black ties that I've been to is when I was covering it for DVTV, because it's not my thing. And I'm just thinking, what would sound exciting to me just to attend, whether it was you wear things that glow in the dark and there's black lights everywhere, and
we can hold it here.
Yeah, you know, something like that, where we're giving, we're just, the delivery is different.
Yes.
there is
We're gonna do it.
Yeah, we are. Let's totally do it.
a black tie dinner. I have had the opportunity to go a few times because of work. And I understand that a lot of people feel like it's going to be, as you said, hoity-toity. It's really not. And there's really going to be a lot of the same people that you see every day. And, you know, because it's an event. People see this as an event. But a lot of people are not into what you might think of as a formal black tie thing. And maybe a lot of people don't feel like they can afford that level. You know, we have different levels in our community. We have different economic levels. We have different levels of interest. We have different interest. So, you know, I think
now I will say, when the black tie is over, you know, because everyone stays at the hotel, the after parties, they get filthy. So that makes it fun.
Once again, the opinions expressed by panelists on this show are not necessarily endorsed by Dallas Voice Publishing.
We're not going to be allowed back.
DVTV.
They're not going to ask us
This
back.
is going to be the last time you see Brandy and Israel
Ever,
on TV.
anywhere, not just here. They're going to disappear. The regime is coming for them.
The Sky Luna, the Luna Sky regime.
Luna Sky.
Ooh, I like that.
Uh-huh,
Luna Sky. Luna Sky.
It kind of sounds like Luna Sea, which fits in there too.
You know
don't
what? There's a place in that too.
Luna C could be my drag
Luna
name. Thursday night, see me at the Rose Room.
Luna Sea.
Amateur drag night.
Luna
can't-
see sky.
I can't even with y'all. Oh.
Okay, but let's move on. You mentioned the anger. Okay, let's not move on.
We still have a minute.
No, this is a longer discussion than a minute and a half.
Okay.
Can we go to break early and come back?
Sure.
Is that all right with you, sir? Okay, he says we can. He runs the world. We're going to go ahead and take an early break because when we come back, we're going to talk to our award-winning columnist, Brandy Amaraskai, about, first of all, she's going to tell us about the award and what you've won.
Okay.
And
Oh, yeah,
then-
now that I can.
Yeah, you can talk about it now.
talk about it now.
And then we'll talk about this really good column that you've written here.
Awesome.
Okay?
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, we wouldn't have wanted
Right.
to cut. in
Right.
between
I know
all
because
that.
I got cut off all
Because
last
she
week.
talks a lot. Okay, we're going to go to break now. We'll be back in a minute. Thank you.
But you were always cutting me off last week.
Okay, we are back and talking about drag names, but we're going to move on from that, and we're going to move on from that. We're going to put the spotlight now on Brandy here. We're going to let her tell us about this award that she won for the column, and then we're going to talk about this column here.
So I talked about it a little bit last week, but I couldn't necessarily say what I won. But the Dallas Writers Conference put out a contest for, they wanted to find diverse writers. And so the scholarship was called Own Voice. And with it, you got entry for the whole weekend. And so I submitted the article that was in The Voice a couple of weeks ago, the one on marriage, being gay, the one
And
we
your
talked about,
parents.
and my parents. And I won. And so I won not only...
Congratulations!
I know, yay!
It was a really
It
great,
was an amazing,
Yeah.
great article. Yeah.
So I won entry into the entire conference. I'm also getting to pitch my new book that I'm working on. It's a memoir on becoming, to an agent, a New York agent, and also Stephanie Klein, who is basically the Carrie Bradshaw of New York bloggers. She's written a memoir called Moose, memoir on Fat Camp, and Straight Up and Dirty, which is an awesome memoir. And she's going to be reading the first 10 pages of my book. And I'm so excited because I get to sit down and have feedback with, a published author, New York, like legit published author.
Are you nervous about those 10 pages?
I really am, but I'm not, because it feels right. Like you just know, like as an artist, when it's time, like you've been waiting to birth something for so long, and you just know that it's ready. And I know it's ready. It's kind of like when I competed for Miss Diva US of A. I was nervous being on stage and I was nervous about the outcome, but I was ready. Like my talent was ready. Everything was ready. Like I was ready to go and I was prepared. So I'm doing that on the same weekend as Rack Focus. And I'm really disappointed because I wish I could clone myself and do both at the same time.
I was going to ask her to be a judge because she was a great judge last round.
Thank you. I love you guys. So don't believe any of the reasons Israel gives you that I'm not there. I really wanted to be there, but I can't.
I'm going to say it on microphone. She hates all of us. She says she had a terrible time and she's moving on.
Liar. So,
Right. Okay, well, this week you've got another column, anger, love, and a bridge. And I, once again, very impressed with your column. It's across from a really, really good column here by Hardy Haberman, who writes for us, has been writing for us for some time, and about facing our fears. All of this has to do, both of them have to do with something we were kidding around about, but it's a serious subject about resistance.
yeah.
You know, we are in the middle of a regime right now. We're not even the Luna regime, but we really have people in charge of a lot of things in this country who shouldn't be in charge, in my opinion, and who don't have our best interest at heart. So, you know, it's about resistance, and it's about using our anger, I think, and our opportunities and our talents to the best of our ability. And Hardy's column, before I get you to start telling me about yours, Hardy's column is about being afraid. And I'm not sure about some of you guys, but since November, I've been just kind of on the edge of really afraid, you know, and teetering between really afraid and really pissed off sometimes. So, you know, and I think that your column, both of these columns here, so please read them both, but I'm going to get Brandy to talk about hers, is about using that and making it work.
And I think it's really interesting. Like, I didn't know that Hardy was going to write this article, and I didn't know what he was writing about. And it just so happens that both of these columns, mine and his, go hand in hand together, like really, really well. His talks about fear and mine talks about anger. And I think that's two emotions that we're all feeling right now. There's that fear, and then there's that anger. And without even planning it, that's kind of what happened in this week's editorial content in the Dallas Voice. And it also circles back to what we were talking about last week about using your creativity as an outlet, as a voice, as a way of resisting. And I think both of these articles do that. And mine, I'm processing anger and how this whole Donald Trump experience has mirrored what I felt back in 2004 when George W. Bush was elected, and my then partner was involuntarily recalled into his Operation Iraqi Freedom War, and we couldn't even get married. So if something would have happened to her, then she would have, I'd have no rights whatsoever. And so it was paralleling that anger with what I'm feeling now. And I'm still angry, but my anger now has become about how can I use this to connect? Like, how can I use this anger that I feel to connect instead of divide? And I think that has something to do with growth as an adult, between my 20s and my 30s. But I also think that has a lot to do with my partner, Candace. And without her love and without being and opening myself to love, that it just wouldn't have been possible. And so the whole column is about anger, realizing that I want to help connect people. And then also we're celebrating her birthday on Sunday. She's another Taurus. I swear I'm surrounded on all ends by Taurians. My father, you, Candace, and
I'm not.
Oh, thank God. I'm a Capricorn. So it's about that. And it's a tri-level thing of just trying to do something, and doing something for me is writing and art. And you get to see these really cool pictures of me in my 20s as the militant I was.
What was this? You got in your car and drove.
My sign said, I got in my car and drove 2,000 miles to bring the asshole back to Texas. Yeah. So.
Nice. And again, it's about, like you said, it's about doing something. It's about using what we have in our emotions to make a difference. And that's,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really like that, what you're talking about using this anger and this fear to connect, because I know that a lot of us feel those things, but we feel, again, helpless, like when we were talking about the Chechnya thing. And it's good to know just that somebody else feels that, and then you want to do something about it because it makes you feel better. And, like this morning when I was, venting about the whole airline thing, when you even just expressing it on Facebook, you feel better after you've done it. It does help. So I'm sure, doing it through art, the expression, it's so therapeutic.
It's totally therapeutic
as well.
One thing, though, that we need to remember is that because we vent about whatever's pissing us off, we take the time we vent in writing through our art or just on Facebook or however. We made ourselves feel better in that we've let off a little steam, but we've not necessarily made things better. So you also remember to hold on to enough of your anger, enough of your fear.
But I'm angry now.
Yeah.
Exactly. use it. Use it to make things work. Don't break my clock.
I think that's a really, really good point. Of course, you're going to cut me off again, but I think that's a really good point. Is that you give away some of your anger in your art, but then you also hold on to bits and pieces of it because that's what keeps your drive going, and that keeps you as an activist inspired and full to keep going.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
The moral majority, remember that from the 80s? You probably don't. Moral majority from the 80s, they were neither moral, they were not, nor were they a majority. They were just loud.
Yeah.
And so many people, I tend to be real moderate about things. Like you're talking, well, what we got to do this? And you're like, no, throw them off the plane.
I'm
and
loud.
Like, there's a middle point, guys. Yeah. Come on. And I tend to be more moderate about things. And that's okay, but that's reasonable, I think. But we have to learn how to be what I call wild-eyed moderates. You have the wild-eyed right wing and the wild-eyed
that's a good phrase.
Left wing, and we have to learn to fight for the middle sometimes.
I like that. Wide-eyed moderate.
Okay, we're gonna take one more break. We'll come back and wrap things up. So stay with us.
I like that.
And we're back. We're going to wrap things up before the brown ones take over.
I'm going to write that down.
That was racist, Tammy.
Yes,
I am offended. I am not moving from this spot.
It's your place. You can stay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to punch myself and throw myself out.
We're not going to drag you out of here.
No. Even though we have this room booked with someone else, we're going to let you stay. You're going to look real silly in the next program,
gonna
but
bust
you're
my nose.
welcome to
I'm gonna
stay.
hit my nose
Welcome to
and-
stay. All right, well, let's wrap it up. Israel, tell us where things stand with you.
I have a competition called my Rack Focus Film Competition. It's going to be a week from tomorrow, May 6th at the Texas Theater. Advance tickets are available now. Just go to rackfocusdallas.com. And of course, we are here at Spayse Studios, SPAYSE studios.com.
I'm Brandy Marsky, and this next week you can find me in a teepee somewhere in New Braunfels celebrating my wife's birthday that I'm not going to tell you how old she is because I don't want to get in trouble.
23.
Good point.
23.
I think 23 is probably good. I'm Tammy Nash. I'm managing editor for Dallas Voice. I want to remind everybody that we have a paper that comes out every Friday, and advertising is available. We also have a website, dallasvoice.com, and we have an annual newcomers and visitors relocation guide called Out North Texas. This next Friday is our wedding issue. So,
Oh, that's going to be a fun.
yeah. So if you have a story, that would fit in a wedding issue, if you are a business person who would like to advertise some wedding related services, give us a call. 214-754-8710 or nash@dallasvoice.com. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yay.
Awesome. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend. Peace.
Bye.